Hey there, if you're new here, my name is Naomi and I am renovating, redesigning, DIYing my entire house. And today we are going into the kitchen because I need to do some serious reorganization. So my plan is to start from left to right. Now when you enter my kitchen, the first thing you see are a couple of little spice jars that I put out on the counter. It is incredibly handy because they are sitting next to the stove where I actually need them the most. But I find myself refilling these jars so often because I usually cook in batches. I try and cook a lot and then put them in the freezer so that we have easy homemade meals during the week. That means I use a lot of basil and a lot of oregano and a lot of paprika. So I decided to put the spices into bigger jars and put them up on the shelf right next to the stove. In that same spot, there is a spice drawer. And this is an absolute mess because that's where I keep the itty bitty spice jars that don't really fit upright in the drawer, so I have to lay them down, and it kind of got messy, as you can see. So I'm cleaning out that drawer. Apparently I also had some doubles, so I could combine those. I put some of them in other bigger jars as well.
So this is 27. It doesn't matter what I've been through. I should grow up too, but I still act like I'm 11.
I just got started and I'm already stuck. So here's why I'm struggling. I had these big jars where I put my oregano and my basil because these are the ones that I use very often, very much of. But if I'm gonna put them in the back like this, and I'm gonna put other spices in front of it, that is recipe for disaster. I'm gonna try, because I know myself, I'm gonna try and get this from behind there, and then I'm gonna throw these glass jars off of the shelf. They're gonna break. It's gonna be a disaster. So not ideal. So the spices that I actually use very, very often, like basil and oregano, should be in the front where I can easily grab them. Now in this drawer there are also some spices that I don't use very often, but I do absolutely use. So I'm putting them in a little basket and I'm going to put them in the drawer underneath so that I can reach them when I need to, but I don't have to look at them every day.
I let it slip somehow. So this is 27. Start the music, kill the silence. Let my mind rest. Pour a drink 'cause it's effective. Can't seem to get my head around why I left you.
Underneath the spice drawer is the baking drawer. And this is the most illogical thing in this kitchen because I don't do any baking on this side of the kitchen. When I do any baking, I do it on the other side. So I have to walk back and forth between that side of the kitchen and the door to get my stuff all the time. It is incredibly annoying. It makes no sense at all. So I'm moving this drawer, or the contents of this drawer, to the other side, which was actually a coffee drawer. And I'm moving the contents of the coffee drawer to a drawer next to it because that is where the actual coffee machine is. So it's right underneath there. That makes sense.
I don't know how it feels to be someone you love, and it gets me down. I let it slip somehow.
And then underneath that baking drawer, while I'm here, I am going to reorganize that one as well. I am keeping some extra resealable bags, some foil, some cutting boards, some kitchen tools, just things that I need on this side when I'm working right here. Now going back to the other side of the kitchen, there's the utensil drawer. This drawer definitely needs some dividers so that I can organize it properly, but we'll get back to that later. Now moving on to the sink area, there's a junk drawer and another one. Now some things of these junk drawers are gonna go into the horror drawer that you may remember from my last video. I haven't decided where that goes yet. Now underneath that junk drawer, there are some first aid things that I'm moving to the other side, just so that I have this area empty because this is where I actually work. So I'm pretty sure I can find a better purpose for these drawers right here. Now with that top corner drawer empty, I think that would make for a perfect tea drawer. I make tea very often, so I think my tea deserves its own drawer. So I love what this system can do. It's incredibly handy and I don't use it. Because the only things out of this cupboard that I ever actually use are these mixing bowls. And they are right in the front, so I don't actually have to slide this out to get to them. And the ones that are in the front right here. And okay, sometimes I use this soup pan and these saucepans, but the ones in the back, I don't think I have taken them out since we moved in. So I'm thinking I should go through these, see what I can donate and get rid of, and then we will have more space for things that I might actually want to have in the kitchen.
Do you recall when we were young, running from all things at once, without thinking twice?
I should probably replace this.
And I knew it would catch up, and that we would be the ones left behind. The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind. On this road that I am on, I gotta stay here.
Now, as I said before, I wanted to organize the utensil drawer, and that same goes for the cutlery drawer, and I have another drawer where some kitchen tools live. So I'm going to do these 3 drawers and create organizers for them. So I'm going to lay them out the way that I would want to see them in the drawers so that I can create a divider later. So these obviously belong together. Let's keep that one because I keep melting everything that is made of plastic.
And I still wonder where you are, and if you found a way out from.
I then sketched out how I wanted to divide the drawer. I measured everything and wrote the exact measurements down. Now I did this for all 3 of the drawers so that I could exactly calculate how much wood I needed. Once I knew exactly what I had to go and get, I went out to the lumber place that I always go to, and I looked for a certain type of trim. I wanted something that was thick enough so that it wouldn't warp inside the drawer, but I also wanted it small enough so that it wouldn't obviously take up too much space, and it shouldn't be too high either. I actually found the perfect piece. I think I got 10 meters of it. I could use this for so many more projects, so that's fine. So I got the trim and I cut it all to the sizes that I calculated, and I made sure that it would fit as snug as possible so that I could fit it inside the drawer with no glue.
So much more. And I still wonder where you are. If you found a way out, come seek me out.
Take a sliver off of this one because this is so stuck I will never be able to get it out. I'll show you how I do it. I gently push the piece of wood against the blade, then I keep it in place while I lift the blade up, and then I run it down along the wood. So I'm going to go and get my wood glue, and I will put all these pieces back in with a bit of glue. And then the idea is that I can take the whole thing out later so that I can get my nail gun and put nails in the sides so that it will all stay exactly where it is. I then made a very simple knife holder just out of a piece of wood where I cut some slits into it using my miter saw. Now for the upper cupboards, we bought this house furnished, so it actually came with a lot of glasses and plates and things that were already in there, and we just left them. But we don't need this many. We don't need 20 wine glasses ever. Also, I cannot even reach that top shelf. So of course I broke one. So I have got a box for whatever is going to go to the thrift store. I have taken everything out. I have put a lot of it in the donation box and just saved a couple of them in another room. And then what I did, and this I'm very happy with, I moved everything that we use very often into the one cupboard on the left and the one in the middle. And I did this because when I'm emptying the dishwasher, I always stand on the left side of it. I always had to walk around that dishwasher multiple times when I was emptying it because I couldn't reach that other cupboard. And now I can actually empty the dishwasher standing in one place. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it was really frustrating to me. So, my tip to you, put as much as you can in the same cupboard so that you can empty the dishwasher in one fell swoop. Then in the other cupboard on the right is actually the place where I always make the sandwiches for school in the morning. So that is where I put everything that we use for the sandwiches. So next to what is now our pantry, there is an additional room. I am actually planning on turning that room into a really big pantry. That is going to be a very big project. And I don't want to do that today. So we're gonna work with what we have. Now I am keeping some of my cast iron pans on the counter. I actually use these things all the time. I want to hang my cast iron pans from the beam up there. And I thought I'd be using this one, which is actually a rod that I took off of the original island. And it's really pretty, but it's too long. So easy solution, I thought, would be to just cut off a piece of it. But it turns out that the end of this rod actually has a little screw thingy that you can screw these pretty ends onto. And obviously if I cut a piece off, that will be gone. I don't have the tools to recreate that. So I decided to, instead of using this one, to use that one. That's just a simple IKEA rod. It has a very simple end that I can just cut off. I also might want to do something else with these shelves. Let's do that pan holding thing first. That might have its own challenge. These are really made to hang from something vertical, not horizontal. Let me think about that.
Let us live down deep below. You get pulled by the tide. There's still so much that you don't know, but I know that you'll try.
So at this point, I kind of thought I was done. But these shelves that are hanging right here, I didn't like the way they looked. I actually attached these to the wall into the cabinets so they would fill out that entire space. I didn't like the look of that. So I got another set of these same shelf brackets. And then I resized these shelves and actually hung them up on shelf brackets instead. And I think that looks so much better. So I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me today, reorganizing my kitchen. I will be back very soon with another DIY project. I am still planning on making that coffee table that I talked about. But in the meanwhile, maybe this video is interesting to you. I will see you in the next one. Bye.